A hush settled over the palace as twilight seeped through stained glass windows, casting kaleidoscopic patterns across the crimson carpet. In the private anteroom of Clarence House, Prince William sat alone, slippered feet resting on an oriental rug, the soft glow of a single lamp illuminating the lines of concentration on his face. Spread before him were leather-bound dossiers, each embossed with the royal cipher, crammed with ministerial briefings, dispatches from embassies, and sensitive reports on everything from trade negotiations to defense procurements. Tonight, according to palace insiders, William made a decision he could no longer defer. He would personally oversee the daily machinery of government, stepping into a role long reserved for his father, King Charles III. Outside, along the hushed corridors, footmen paused mid-stride, sensing the shift in protocol as messages intended for the king were redirected to the Prince of Wales. In the grand marble hall, tapestries depicting Tudor monarchs seemed to ripple, as if stirred by a breeze of change. In Downing Street, junior ministers, who once busied themselves with Charles's calm queries now found themselves briefing William at dawn, his questions precise and probing. Whispers of a standing Regency Council fluttered through Whitehall like restless birds. Far from a mere contingency plan, this council, comprising senior royals, former cabinet secretaries, and the Lord Chancellor, had convened in secret to map out every scenario in which Charles's health might force a temporary ceding of duties. Yet even the thought of such a body gripped constitutional experts with dread, for any semblance of divided authority risked dragging the monarchy into the mire of partisan politics. Inside Clarence House's library, the heir's focus was unerring. Each redacted cable he examined, each footnote he underlined, stoked the anticipation both inside the palace and beyond its gates. Tea, once steaming in a silver pot, now stood cold, its porcelain teacup crusted at the rim. A single sheet of gold-edged stationery lay on the mahogany desk, waiting for William's hand to pen his signature, an act that, sources claim, would mark the first formal step toward an unprecedented shift in royal stewardship. Meanwhile, Buckingham Palace, resplendent against the night sky, pulsated with its own tensions. Earlier that evening, Queen Camilla had presided over a glittering reception for Commonwealth High Commissioners. Draped in a midnight blue velvet gown embroidered with silver acanthus leaves, she greeted each envoy with unflagging grace, yet behind her measured smile, aides detected something more. A steely resolve to maintain the monarchy's momentum, no matter the personal cost. Though palace physicians had urged her to counsel Charles to lighten his schedule, Camilla refused. In a private corridor, she confided to a lady-in-waiting, "If the sovereign appears faint, the crown itself could weaken. My duty is to shield him, even if it means bearing the strain myself." That very night, King Charles, his countenance pale beneath the opulent chandeliers of St. James's Palace, labored to sign a stack of documents in his study. Each signature was slower than the last, a tremor betraying his fatigue. As the quill scratched across parchment, his mind flickered to distant memories, learning court protocol from Queen Elizabeth II, her voice soft as she guided him through investitures, Diana's bright laughter echoing through the corridors of Kensington, and William as a boy, bouncing on his shoulder at Trooping the Colour, his giggles turning solemn now with grown-man resolve. A single line of his late wife's diary, tucked into his breast pocket, reminded him of a mother's lasting influence: lead with compassion. Yet compassion alone could not settle the growing rift. In a secluded pavilion at Gatcombe Park, Princess Anne convened her own council of continuity. Known for her unwavering devotion to duty, Anne had summoned a select coterie of trusted aides, archivists, equerries, and a retired ambassador, to draft alternative arrangements for key patronages and ceremonial roles. Under the soft glow of candlelight, they redrew seating charts for state banquets, reassigning titles to ensure the monarchy's functions would endure, no matter which family member sat at the head of the table. "It's about safeguarding tradition," Anne told them, her voice crisp as the autumn air outside. Yet others wondered if her meticulous planning crossed the threshold into power play. Between these formidable rituals, Princess Catherine, seemingly serene in public, grappled with an upheaval in private. At state dinners, she moved through clusters of diplomats in a fluid navy gown, her laughter a well-practiced balm. But behind closed doors at Kensington, friends reported seeing her at her desk long after staff had departed, writing letters she would never send, addressing both Charles and William with bursts of raw emotion. In one unsent passage, she pleaded, "Let us not fracture what has taken generations to forge. I stand beside you both, but do not let us become strangers." On another sheet, she sketched a vision of a trinity of leadership, where father, son, and daughter-in-law shared the crown's burdens equally. In each careful stroke, one sensed her desperate hope to quell the tempest. And yet, as these private dramas played out within the palace walls, another figure loomed over the family's fracturing unity, Prince Harry, far from the stately oak doors of Sandringham, yet casting a long shadow across the Atlantic. From his California studio, walls lined with gold records and framed photographs, he monitored every nuance, palace press releases, leaked memos, and social media storms. His latest podcast episodes, replete with untold truths, painted the House of Windsor as a family shackled by secrecy. Meghan, ever the architect, strategized their narrative with surgical precision, ensuring each reveal landed when it would cause the greatest stir. Their alliance of defiant transparency stood in stark contrast to Charles's discretion, and each sonic boom of their revelations widened the rift between brothers. Across the nation, the public reacted with a mixture of fascination and alarm. Late-night phone INS buzzed with callers demanding William assume the full mantle, while others decried any notion of sidelining Charles as an affront to democracy's deepest roots. Social media polls split the populace almost evenly, 52% backing William's gradual takeover, 48% clinging to the image of a king defined by a 70-year apprenticeship. Columnists penned op-eds debating whether the monarchy should adapt to modern pressures or remain an immutable symbol of continuity. Even the most veteran royal commentators admitted they had never witnessed such a confluence of private ambition, public duty, and familial heartache. As Christmas approached, the palace grounds transformed into a tapestry of twinkling lights and gilt-edged wreaths. In the Knights' Hall at Windsor, long mahogany tables stood ready beneath vaulted ceilings, candles flickering to life. Will Charles take his accustomed seat at the high table, or will he, for the first time, pass the ceremonial mace to William? Will Camilla stand at her husband's side, her silhouette a testament to unwavering loyalty, or will she step forward to her own place of prominence? And will Catherine, poised between father and son, emerge as the calm center of the storm, her quiet words the salve that heals a kingdom's wounds? All the while, behind the thick velvet drapes of the private chambers, every gesture carried hidden weight. A folded napkin on Charles's dinner plate, an unopened letter on Anne's desk, a borrowed cufflink in William's possession, each served as a testament to alliances made and promises broken. And as the midnight bells tolled on New Year's Eve, the realm awaited the truth that no official bulletin could convey. Who would guide the crown's golden coach into the dawn of 2026, and whose hand would release the reins? For in this ultimate test of loyalty and legacy, it will not be the public addresses, or the carefully staged processionals that define the era, but the personal sacrifices made in hushed antechambers. The king's resolve against the heir's zeal, the consort's staunch defense, the princess's mediating heart, the aunt's vigilant guardianship, and the exile's relentless clarion call. Each thread weaves into a tapestry of power, love, and history, a tapestry that, in the end, must hold fast against the winds of change, or unravel altogether. And as Britain gazes skyward to the frosty spires of Westminster Abbey, it dares to ask, when the crown passes from father to son, will it shine all the brighter, or cast darker shadows than ever before?